All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you see it, the closing bell on Wall Street. And it's that time of day for the daily closing bell report. And joining us now is Newsmax Editorial Director of Financial Newsletters, Jeff Yastine. Jeff, nothing to celebrate today, too much?
No, not really. We had the market start off on a relatively good note. We saw the blue chip indexes like the Dow and the S&P higher for most of the day, and then a fairly decent sized sell-off late in the session. So we had the Dow close down 12 points to 18,116. The NASDAQ lost 15 points, ended at about 5,011, and the S&P 500 losing 4 and ending at 2104. So we'll have to see if there's more follow through on the selling tomorrow.
What do you attribute today's selling to?
You know, when you look at the news reports, there was no one single thing. We had oil was up a little bit today. I think it finished around $47, $48 a barrel for Texas late sweet crude. But beyond that, there really wasn't that much. It's one of those things where the market is kind of hovering in place, doing okay, and then late in the session, the last hour, everybody starts hitting the sell button, and it finishes down. Whether the market, in its wisdom, is seeing something more news that hasn't come out tomorrow or next week, we just don't know. A lot of people say it's overvalued here and due for a pullback. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we've been hearing that for quite a while.
Yeah,
let's talk about, you mentioned oil, you touched on oil. I wonder how that's affecting the railroads and the railroad profits. Have they been hit hard during the plunge in the oil decline, or the oil decline from last June till now?
Yeah, we're starting to see some of those reports come out. Kansas City Southern, the stock symbol is KSU. That stock was down about 8% today because they were saying, in part, that they are seeing lower profits or expect to see lower profits both in the past quarter as well as in upcoming quarters, because oil companies, the oil producers in the Midwest, are not needing their services to move oil by tanker along the rail lines from the wellheads to the refining centers down in Texas and on the coastlines. So this is another example where oil, lower energy prices, good for Americans in general, but at the same time we're seeing problems in profit warnings from key companies like these transportation firms.
All right, I see where China is pulling out the checkbook in Europe.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting. There's a company, the name, it's like a tire company out of China, a very large one, and they're buying a brand name that we all know from Europe called Pirelli Tire, which is a venerable Italian tire company. They're buying it for $7.7 billion. And what's interesting about this is, as we've talked on this show and other shows here at Newsmax many times, Europe, in terms of the stock prices and the asset prices, has been beaten way down. And these Chinese companies are starting to move in and buy these assets on the cheap. And Pirelli's just the latest of those to come out. And there are expectations that as the economy starts to rebound with quantitative easing, with the European Central Bank, that therefore they're going to be timing these purchases accurately. Time will tell.
And on the eve of the opening of the baseball season, one of the great names in sports, Louisville Slugger, it will no longer be an American-owned company, I understand.
Yes, Wilson Sporting Goods, which is actually owned by a company based in Finland, is buying Hillerick and Bradsby, which is the owner of the Louisville Slugger brand, which about 60% of Major League Baseball players use. But there are two reasons why the Hillerick and Bradsby brand or company is being sold. One is that the ash borer beetle is chewing its way through a lot of these ash forests.
That's not good.
If you're making wooden bats, that's a problem.
Right. No, that's absolutely not good.
They're switching to maple. And the other problem.
Jeff, I thank you, Jeff. And folks, if you want to find out more on the financial news, by going to Newsmax.com and click at the finance button on the very top of the page. There it is. Give Me 5 is next.